Hey audio friends, welcome back to the channel. MrAyrit here. Got an IEM review for you today. This is the Letshuoer. I think that's how you're supposed to say it. It used to be Shuoer, but now it's like Letshuoer, I think. I don't know. That's how I read it anyway. I got the S12s here. So these are a planar magnetic IEM. They are have like a 14.8 millimeter driver, I think, 16 ohms, 102 dB. So they're just like most IEMs, you know, they're pretty easy to drive. Let's dig into these guys. Let's see, you know, what you get with them, and of course, we'll talk about how they sound. Packaging, you know, it's nothing too crazy to note, but I just thought I'd let you see it. Comes in like a little sleeve. You know, you open her up and you got a little bit of paperwork. You get some tips there. These are foam tips, and it also comes with some silicone tips as well. Pull that out. You got a little case. There's the silicone tips. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. So it's certainly an adequate amount of packaging and accessories that come with it. It's all pretty decent stuff, in my opinion. Let me tuck some of this stuff away, and we'll get looking at the cable and the IEMs themselves. Okay, so before we actually look at the IEMs, let's take a look at the cable. Now, this is a pretty nice cable, I would say. It's definitely nicer than most of the under $100 IEMs that I've tried. I mean, it's pretty comparable to the Shuoer Tape cable. This one, however, comes with a 4.4, and it looks like when you buy it, you can choose either this or a 3.5. I wish it was a 2.5. I have more devices that use that, but you know, 4.4 is cool too. These are a 2-pin, you know, so they've just got the regular 2 pins. They do have, as you can see, kind of the typical IEM like ear hook type situation up here on the cable. They talk about the cable being, you know, it's a specific thickness that they think is good for resistance. It's silver-plated copper. I have no problems with the cable. It doesn't tangle too bad. I found it to be a pretty nice cable, just like I did with the Shuoer tapes when I was reviewing those and used those a lot, and I still have them. The actual IEMs here are pretty nice. They are metal, and you can see they kind of have this little, you know, where the 2 pins come in, you know, they've got a little block, and then they're pretty smooth after that. You know, medium-sized IEM, I would say. They do talk about there being a couple of ports put into these guys, and they talk a lot about the tuning and stuff if you go look at, you know, the information on any of the store websites and things like that. I find the fit and finish and build and the accessories with these guys, I find it all to be pretty good. I don't really have any complaints in any of those departments. When I was using them, I found them to be comfortable. I mainly use them with silicone tips, not the tips they came with. I just used I have a few that I just have lying around, and I usually just use those so I don't use up the ones because, as you guys know, I usually sell things, and I like to send them with all the original accessories if possible, unless I really like the tips or really want to try them for one reason or another. So that is the Letshuoer S12s, and it's all good up to this point. Let's talk sound. Sound is also pretty good. They are not, I would not call this a neutrally tuned IEM. I think there is a definite bass emphasis here, so bass, you know, a few dBs beyond what I consider to be neutral. They're not like crazy boomy or anything like that, but it's a little bit more than what my personal taste call for. But if you're somebody that likes bass a little bit fuller than neutral, you like it to be kind of the standout in the frequency response range, then this IEM definitely might be for you. I thought bass extension was quite good. I thought that the bass texture was quite good. I didn't feel like, even though I do feel like it is the biggest piece of the frequency response, I didn't feel like it really overpowered the middle and upper frequencies, and I didn't feel like it bled too far into the mids, like that it would screw up the tonality or anything. So I thought the tone and timbre of these was pretty good. And I think that, you know, both the mids and the highs, they are still good. Like, I would say still detailed, still plenty of resolution there, plenty of extension on the treble as well, but it it just isn't as present as the bass is in the frequency response. But all in all, I thought it sounded pretty good. I think that it images reasonably well. There's a decent little bit of soundstage there. I thought separation was okay. I did feel like there were a few times where I thought things got a little muddled together. I mean, that was not the common listening experience, but I do feel like there were a few tracks that ended up that way for me. And I should take some time to note that I mainly listen to this on my Xcan, and also I'm trying out the QLux 5K too, so I tried it on both of those. Were my main listening. I mean, I tried it on the Griffin a little bit too when I had the Griffin for review. So I think it's a good IEM. Again, it's not my tuning preference, but I think there's very little to complain about if you want an IEM whose bass is a little bit stronger than flat or stronger than neutral. I think that this is definitely one to look at. I think it's for its price, which is, it looks like around $150 new. I think I bought mine used for $120 or $125-ish or something around there. And I have had these for quite a while. I've had them for 2 or 3 months and listened to them on and off. So I've given them a good long run. Again, they just don't suit my preferences quite right, but I feel like if you're in the market for an IEM that's between $100 and $150, you want to try maybe a planar IEM, you like your music a little bit stronger in the bass, but still want, good resolution and timbre with the rest of the frequency response, I definitely think these are worth trying out and giving them a shot. I probably would take something more like the Moondrop Arias, or like I said, I really like the Moondrop Chews as well, and those are so cheap. Like, you can pick those up so cheap now that for me, those are kind of the ones to be. I'd even say that I thought the Shuoer Tape Pros, while I don't feel like they resolve as good as these and don't have quite the same amount of detail, I feel like just the tuning of those fits my preferences a little bit better. So I will not be keeping the S12s. I'm going to sell them, but they're definitely not a bad IEM. And like I said, if it sounds like this frequency response would meet your preferences, I definitely can recommend that you give them a shot. I think that's going to do it for this one. Pretty quick little review here. Definitely drop in your opinion down in the comments below. If you have other IEMs in this price range that you think people should look at, drop those down there as well. If you have an alternative opinion to what I said, definitely drop that down there as well. I always like to get as many opinions as possible. If you liked this video, thought it was useful, consider liking it. Consider subscribing to the channel if you want more audio reviews, and if you want to support the channel a little bit more, there is a link to my Patreon down there as well. And I think that'll wrap us up. So thanks for your time as always, and I will hopefully see you in the next one.